One of the most controversial topics in Magic right now, besides Universes Beyond, is probably whether or not you should be or are proxying. Some people don't like proxies. Some people think they're amazing. Some people think they're necessary to keep the game affordable. But whatever your opinion is, I posted a short version of my take on a short, and it got a ton of interaction, which felt like I needed to expand the conversation just a little bit. So I called up my boy Jared, a fellow knight here at the Nerds Table, to talk a little bit about proxies because he not only knows a lot about proxies, but actually proxies cards himself at a pretty high quality, if I do say so myself. So let me just introduce you guys to my friend Jared and let him talk about himself a little bit, and then we'll get into this really interesting topic.
Hey guys, Porter, thanks for having me. I like this. I want to do more formats like this. This is a ton of fun. I love this conversation. I think this is a big conversation. I've been playing Magic for many, many, many years at all different levels, whether it be competitive or whatever. But yeah, I proxy cards. I'm an avid supporter of proxies. I think they're good for Magic the Gathering and most card formats. And I'm excited to have this conversation.
And I am actually also pro proxy. I hope you don't walk away from this video thinking that I'm anti proxy. I think proxies are fine, and a lot of times I think they're great, but I will probably play a little bit of devil's advocate, just a little bit, because I do think there are two sides to this discussion. And the discussion is important in and of itself. And here are some reasons why. Number one, cards are expensive, and it's hard to get good cards that do what you want to do at an affordable rate. And just buy a pack and hope you hit isn't really the best or healthiest way to build your decks. Commander cultures are
No.
often encouraging proxies as well because it allows you to do things like you do have the bomb, you do have the sweet rare, but you like it in 2 or 3 of your decks, and just shuffling it back and forth is a tough one. So this topic is a good topic to talk about, and I'll talk to a little bit about my first point here, which is that proxying can limit your creativity. There's a little thing called the paradox of choice. It is a concept rolled out in book format, but the idea is that if you have too many choices, it just creates decision paralysis or anxiety, and then you just rely on someone else's choice and you don't even just make the choice yourself and you limit your creativity. So access to every card via proxy might actually decrease your creativity a little bit, because what do if you don't know what to do? You go find someone who did it and you just copy and paste their deck list, which is one of my biggest, I don't want to say issues with proxies. I've sat at different tables and played the same deck, not in standard. I've sat at a table and played against commanders, and it's like, this feels familiar. This feels like I've played this exact deck before. If everyone just used proxies, and if everyone just proxies the most powerful cards, the decks start to feel the same from match to match. Do you think this is why people are buying proxies, Jared, just to like hypercharge their deck, or what are some of the other reasons that people are using proxies?
That's honestly a great point. And to preface, also, like I love your point about you don't think proxies are bad because one, I agree, but two, I also am a big proponent of having the real card. I think having the real card for me, it's a feel thing. I think that's why I try to do high quality proxies
Hmm.
with my store and everything like that. When it comes to printing proxies for people, I do often, you can tell when it's an EDH deck list, an EDH rec deck list. And I agree. I think proxies, if you let them, I think they do have a negative effect when it comes to creativity. And I think this all comes down to where you're at as a deck builder,
Hmm.
whether you're new to the game or you're a veteran. Um, I think the caveat to that point, also, just to throw that out there, is if you're able to, anybody can really just copy a deck list and then go buy the cards. If you're financially able to, I mean, then you see a lot of people like, oh, that just looks like an EDH deck list. Um, and you can tell it's an EDH deck list because of the mana curve a lot of the time. Either is they're
Yeah.
not curved out because it's just people, the amount of people who put those cards in the deck so they're not really curved out real well. Um, or they have like every single staple possible, and like they have every game changer possible. Um, but yeah, I think in a way it can limit creativity. I think at the same stance, I think if you allow it, it can really help creativity. I
Hmm.
think it's kind of where you're at as a deck builder or as a Magic the Gathering player. And there's something that I will get to later in the video called Proxy Etiquette. I think that's
Hmm.
something that needs to be brought into Magic the Gathering in the main point for this. Um, but I like proxying because it allows me to stylize my own deck. It allows me to have make my deck match my personality if it's one of my favorite decks, or there's the possibility for my OCD players out there that has a direct theme across the whole arts. Every land is the same, and there's the art style is the same throughout the deck. Um, and then also like I don't know, I think it's one of those things where and we'll talk also probably about this as well, but like you have access to all the art, you
Hmm.
know, like so. Oh, I can finally have my commander be that secret layer without paying $50 for one card.
Yeah.
So
No, that's really good,
yeah,
and I think that it works right into way to my second like proxy. We'll call it a proxy pause point, where
yeah,
it's not quite a hard anti, but guys, some of your proxies are terrible.
mm.
Like you've printed it on
Don't
your
be different.
grandma's printer, and I can't read the text anyway. It's the original art, but
Yeah,
I still can't read it. Or you've done
yeah,
like a full art treatment, and there's no text on the card. Oh, when this comes into battle, I create 3 of these, 2 of those, kill 2 of those, tap
yeah,
2 of yours, and you have to discard your hand. Okay, I'm just gonna have to believe you because I have no, I got nothing. I got nothing. And some of them have missing text.
yeah.
That's the thing. Some of your proxies have missing text, confusing art, unclear abilities, and they're just hard for people to read. Sometimes I feel like I'm spending more time asking the people, what's this card do, than admiring the cool art on their proxy, because if reading the card explains the card and I can't read your card, I don't know what's happening. So for me, that is one pushback of like, it's sometimes hard to get top notch, good quality proxies, but like what makes a proxy good versus bad? What's your take on that? And do you think quality for proxies even matters at all?
I think 100% matters. I think if you don't have good quality, then there needs to be a going back to the drawing board or not using that deck.
Hmm.
Uh, I think, like you said, if how do I say this? Like you said, if I were to play a card and you have no idea what it does because it's just an image, that's lame. I think that's not like when you proxy, you're not proxying just for you. Your proxies also affect everybody at the table. So having a high quality proxy is really important. And some of that is down to your printer settings.
Hmm.
Take a minute, YouTube a video. If you are just printing on printing paper, that's what I did when I started proxying. Is I printed straight onto you like printing paper and cut them out and put them in front of a basic land, right? Um, I think it's important that you know your printer, know your extent of what you can do, and make sure you have quality proxies. It's up to us as proxy players to help the people around us, not just ourselves. I think it's very selfish
Hmm.
to proxy just for you, and all this is just for me. Good luck to everybody else. I think it's really lame. I think this is kind of a mixture of both of your points. Have good proxies, and number two, know your deck. Don't
Yeah.
just copy and paste a EDH deck list, and then the first time you play it is with people. It's up to us to do our part as proxy players to know what our deck does because we have easier access to cards. Um, Also, your card art is important. I have a proxy that I made of Birds of Paradise. Okay. It is this Japanese edition. I don't know if it's actually Japanese, but it is a very cool edition, right? It's a very cool art. It's all in Japanese, right? If you are printing out cards that aren't in the language that you speak and you don't, and you have to pull up, Google it first to figure out what it does, you shouldn't have that in your deck. I know it's cool. Photoshop's a thing. Uh, so you can Photoshop the actual text on it. But I know it's Bird of Paradise. Bird of Paradise is a 0/1 and taps for any color mana. Um, but then in the same token, Like I think having good quality proxies. So when you do proxy that secret layer, why you can't really see it real well. That is clear. It's concise. It's sharp. People know it's a nature's lore. You have the text in the bottom, and it's clear. I think, yeah. I think it's just to make sure you're doing your part at the table to make the game Magic more fluid for everybody around you.
Yep, and I'll even just add one more thing to that. Uh, love it or hate it, more and more players are getting into the game, especially via
Mm-hmm.
Commander. So just because it's a Soul Ring or a Birds of Paradise, and you know what it is,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that someone who just got into Magic via Avatar or um, uh, they started playing Turtles, but this whole Strixhaven set sounds sick, so they're gonna hop in and
Yep.
try that too. They know what Birds of Paradise is. Even proxying cards for like the cultural flavor
Yeah.
that we do, the nicknames that we do, like it can get tricky. Be ready to let the card explain for itself what it actually does. But that kind of is my
Yeah.
last big, like, what did I call it? Proxy pause point is if you're just proxying for power,
Yeah.
you've lost me. If you
Yeah.
just proxying your fast mana set just so you can turn to win, I think like you're not super creative. You've stuck the
Mm-hmm.
keys into a portion, you turned it on. Congratulations. I don't know if you want an
Yeah.
applause or a medal. That might be my spiciest take, but I think the only reason you're proxying cards is to just jam them into your most powerful deck. That's where it kind of wraps around to my first point is get creative. What cards do you have that also tap for 2 colorless mana that maybe they're not free or maybe they cost something else? What resources do you have available to you already in your bulk? And I've said this in a previous video that I think a part of deck building is story building, referencing stories
Mm-hmm.
from the past adventures, whether they be in the Forgotten Realms or New York City, for some of you who don't love that sentence at all, I'm sorry, or Zendikar. Whatever the lore may
Yeah.
be, you're still pulling these references. And so when you're just jamming fast mana in there, you're just kind of robbing yourself of some really cool moments of, oh, actually, this mana rock going in here makes a ton more sense. The Dragon Storm Takir set that we
Um,
just got, um,
yeah.
not Dragon Storm, but Dragons of Takir, and
There's a dragon storm in it. It
yeah,
is Dragons
yeah,
of Dark here. Yeah.
yes. The latest Tarkir set we just got is a great example of this because you got some 3-drop rocks that do a thing for dragons when you tap them for dragons. That
Yeah.
is maybe not as fast as a mana crypt, but that's more fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's more lore accurate. It's more like on brand. It's cool to do the thing. And maybe you're like, well, I think winning is fun, and that might be people's opinion. I don't know. But for me to just sit down and answer the question, is it okay if I have some proxy cards in my deck? And I say, yeah, that's no problem. And then you say it's a CEDH deck. It's kind of like, okay, then what are you doing here? What are you
Yeah.
doing here
Yeah.
in pubs at 11:30 p.m.? I'm old. I don't want to spend. I don't want to be out
Yeah.
past midnight just so you can pop off on a proxy deck. I think decks should have an identity and a clear objective, but those are some of my like overall. Those are my 3 points, and I think I've kind of fleshed them out. But Jared, give me your perspective, if I just like give you the floor, and what would you want people to know about proxies?
Uh, I really, honestly, genuinely appreciate your perspective, and I think you're correct. No, you're 100% correct in every standpoint. I think one of the most annoying things when it comes to proxying cards for me as a proxier who's done deck lists for people, I've done CDH deck lists and things like that. I've printed a legacy deck for people, like there's thing. I think this all comes down to, right. We didn't even preface at the beginning, but it's a rule zero conversation. Um, I think it all starts with a rule zero conversation. But when it comes to proxying cards and when it comes to being a proxy player and having proxies in your deck, there's something I like to call you should have proxy etiquette.
Hmm.
Uh, and what proxy etiquette is number one, having the conversation. Number one being like, hey guys, in being honest with the conversation, the rule zero conversation, not trying to be sneaky and connive a win by hiding the fact that you have a Mox Opal or every Mox in your deck, right?
Ever all the mocks.
That's lame. That's so lame. I think that's so lame. But be honest, I think if you are printing for power and you are printing or getting proxies just so you could pub stomp and just so you could crush your friends, you have missed the point of Magic the Gathering. When you are more focused on winning than enjoying the fact that I get to play Magic with all of my friends, or I'm meeting new people, and I don't get to do this very often. I'm meeting new people, and I get to play Magic, and I get to use the cards that I bought. I get to show off my fun deck. Having the conversation and realizing that like we get to have fun, and it should be about having fun, and it should be about the gathering, and it's not just about you as the player. So don't print for power. Don't be, and that's basically my biggest point. One of the bigger points is don't be lame, be creative. Don't be lame. And I've never once in any of my decks, you can check any of my decks, I don't have Mana Crypts. I've never printed for myself a Ragavan. I've never printed myself an Ancient Tomb. I don't have a single Black Lotus. I don't have any of those. I have access. I could probably print all the Power 9. That's lame. I don't even put many game changers in my deck because I want to be able to take my proxies, if I want to an LGS and take my decks to an LGS and say, hey, I have proxies. It is this power level. Everything is readable. Everything is clear and concise. And I want to make sure you guys are having as much fun as I'm having. Because for me and my pod, we love to see each other pop off. You build a deck to see it pop off. And so if you have that respectful conversation, so have the conversation. Don't be lame, be creative. Printing for power is not what MTG is about. Have good quality proxies. So research your equipment. If you're buying proxies, make sure you're printing just not a picture. Make sure you know what the cards you're getting, like what the art is. And then as well as know what your deck does. I've said this before. If you're just ripping off an EDH deck list, the least you could do, if you're going to do that, I'm not gonna, like that's up to you. If you don't have time, but you want to try something out, look through the deck beforehand, read the cards beforehand, know what the game plan is, know what where your draw spells are at, know what the win con is. It's the least we could do as proxy players. We have, as a proxy player, and I don't know, we have access to many cards, almost all of the cards. It's the least we could do to help those out around us by making our decks at the same level, if not same level as fun as everybody else is having. So I think it's having good proxy etiquette, is being generally just a nicer person at the LGS. I also, to be honest with you, I think one of my hot takes is I don't think proxies belong at LGSs. I think proxies belong in pods. And if a tournament allows it, then you should proxy the normal art. If you're going to go play an LGS, proxy the normal art. Be a cool person and proxy the normal art. But other than that, I think proxies are definitely a pod, like a at-home pod or at your buddy's house thing, I think that's kind of my take on proxies. Sorry to word vomit.
No, that was good. That was great. And no, that's it. I think that that's all really good. And there's maybe one comment on some of the proxy conversations that the take I didn't think was a good take. I didn't think it had it didn't really prove a point. It was just kind of like a super subjective opinion without any meat to it. But a lot of the comments on that, even that just short form video, were really good. And there's a lot to talk about when it comes to this topic. We don't have time to talk about all of that today, but for you, the viewer, let us know in the comments. Do you proxy? Should you proxy? And that's a great take, and that's maybe a good question. Should be proxying everywhere or just in pods or at the LGS? Is it bringing your McDonald's to a Wendy's if you're just proxying at the LGS a little bit? Okay, that's fine. It's a cheeseburger, and we sell those here, but that's not our cheeseburger, so cool, man. I don't know, but let us know in the comments where you land on this big debate of the proxy battle, whether you're pro, whether you're against, or maybe you just don't care as long as you can read the card. I don't know. But thanks for sticking around for this video. If you want more, don't forget to comment the types of videos you'd love to see us make. And if you enjoyed this even a little bit, we would appreciate it if you liked the video and subscribe to the channel. So, yeah, until we see you right here at the table next time, see you later, nerds.